They were threatened to go to jail if they didn't send their children to school.
No child should die away from their parents like that.
School life was kind of like scary.
News reported Tuesday that a First Nation has found 79 suspected child grave sites and 14 potential infant grave sites at a former residential school for Native people in Saskatchewan, Canada. 93 pink flags were placed to mark each anomaly.
I come from English River First Nation, Pachinak, Saskatchewan. After 8 years old, they told us to go to the residential school. When we got there, all these priests and nuns were there. I'd never seen lots of nuns before, and they looked so mean, or they had the control of you. Other students also kind of, picking on you. They were bullying you around. All those things, like there was abusive.
I'm married to a survivor from the residential school. The residential school was actually located right where we're standing. Many kids died here. There was many plagues. So, the marked graves that you see, a lot of them were from plagues. You'll see the same date, period of time. We knew about the abuse of some of the survivors. We don't know who's in those missing graves.
I grew up here in the northwest Saskatchewan. We're all connected here, and we've all, have experienced the residential school as a part of our lives. As we got older, we learned more and more stories about physical abuse and sexual abuse. We started to hear those kinds of things. So it's been all through our lives.
Beauval Indian Residential School was first founded in 1860 and operated for more than 100 years. The findings are expected to impact 16 communities, which had children attend the school.
Our people are still suffering. Our youth are suffering. Our children are still being born into very dysfunctional families that were created.
We want the government to acknowledge those deaths and those wrongdoings. We also want healing. We want to get some assistance with healing.
The current human rights situation of Indigenous people in Canada cannot be fully understood without considering the legacy of residential schools and intergenerational trauma they created. Over 150,000 First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children were separated from their families and forced to attend the government-funded school between 1870s and 1997. For over 100 years, successive generations of children, many from the same communities and families, were sent to this institution and never returned in numbers that may never be fully known.
A lot of schools had students coming from across British Columbia and from other provinces. The reach and the number of survivors and intergenerational survivors involved is huge. It's very far-reaching. There's a great deal of urgency because it's to align with the investigations and the work that each individual community is doing to do with ground-penetrating radar research, to do with archaeological research and community and survivor-led research, that level of urgency to match the records with each one of those different sites and investigations.